If you've ever wondered why your teen can't just stop looking at porn, no matter how hard they try, this episode will blow your mind. Picture your teen trying to study for a history test, but instead of dates and battles, their brain keeps flashing back to a porn clip that they saw 3 months ago. Crystal clear, heart racing clear, and they hate that it's happening. Why is that memory so sticky when everything else feels foggy? Well, the answer is a single brain chemical most parents have never heard of, norepinephrine. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how porn hijacks this chemical, why it makes recovery feel impossible sometimes, and most importantly, what you can do right now to help your teen's brain reset and heal. Let's dive in. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Parent Guide podcast, helping your teen overcome pornography addiction. I'm Matt Bulkley, a therapist. For the past 25 years, I've sat across from hundreds of teens and their parents walking this exact road. If you're new here, this is the place where we take the shame out of the conversations and replace it with science, hope, and real tools that work. Today is a deep dive episode into the brain. We're talking about norepinephrine, probably the most under-discussed chemical in the entire pornography addiction conversation, yet it explains so much of what you're seeing in your teen. So stick with me. This is going to make things click in a way that they never have before. Let's start with the basics. Norepinephrine, sometimes called noradrenaline, is both a neurotransmitter and a stress hormone. Its day job, it's the brain's highlighter pen. Anytime something is emotionally intense, joy, fear, excitement, danger, sexual arousal, the locus ceruleus, a tiny almond-shaped and almond-sized area in the brainstem, dumps norepinephrine all over the brain. And that surge does three big things. One, it sharpens focus like a laser. Two, it accelerates heart rate and breathing, preparing you for action. And three, and most importantly for today, it tags that moment as this is important. Never forget this. Scientists literally call norepinephrine the memory glue. So think of the last time that you were in a car accident or maybe had your first kiss. Those memories are burned in, right? Well, that's norepinephrine doing its thing. And in a healthy brain, this system is brilliant. It helped our ancestors remember where the tiger was hiding or where the best berries grew. But modern pornography, it weaponizes this ancient system. And here's where it gets wild. Pornography is engineered, yes, engineered, to trigger massive norepinephrine surges over and over in a very short time. Fast scene changes every 3 to 8 seconds, endless novelty, taboo, shock value. Every click is designed to keep the locus ceruleus firing like a machine gun. A 2020 study out of Cambridge, published in Neuropsychology, compared brain scans of teens viewing pornography versus neutral content. The norepinephrine release was off the charts, higher than most natural experiences a teen will ever have. The result? Well, those images get stamped into long-term memory with almost photographic clarity. I've had 14-year-old clients describe scenes that they saw at age 9 or 10 or 11 in vivid detail years later, more detail than what they had for breakfast yesterday. And that's not a moral failing, that's neurochemistry, because the brain, especially the teen brain, still pruning and wiring itself till about age 25, these pathways, they get laid down extra deep. Over time, the brain starts treating sexual content like a survival priority. Pay attention to this or you might die. That's why everyday stuff, things like homework, talking to a real person, even playing video games, can start to feel flat and boring. The norepinephrine bar has been raised so high that normal life cannot compete. The pleasure thermostat, so to speak, in the brain gets set at too high of a level, and everyday regular activities that a teen should be engaging in lose their appeal because they don't provide that level of stimulation. Now let's talk about what this actually looks like at home. You might see, for example, attention problems that look exactly like ADHD, but weren't there before heavy pornography use started. Might look like emotional flatness when the screen is off, there's no access to technology, just followed by irritability or restlessness. Might look like intrusive sexual thoughts popping up at the worst moments during class, at school, at church, or in a family dinner. Might look like escalation and needing more extreme or novel content to get the same norepinephrine hit. A 2021 meta-analysis in Frontiers in Neuroscience found that chronic overstimulation of the norepinephrine system leads to receptor downregulation, meaning that the brain literally makes fewer docking stations for norepinephrine. Translation, your teen now needs bigger and bigger hits just to feel normal. And when they don't get it, they crash. It's brain fog, it's anxiety, it's depression, it's anger. And I've had parents say, "Hey, Matt, my kid is wired, but he's tired all the time." And that's a classic sign of norepinephrine burnout. And because norepinephrine is tied to the body's stress system, many teens end up in a loop where they're stressed, they watch porn for relief, which leads to more norepinephrine imbalance, and then even a higher baseline stress, which then leads to the need for porn again. 2022 study in psychoneuroendocrinology followed 200 teens and found heavy pornography use predicted a 40% increase in anxiety symptoms 6 months later, largely through this exact mechanism. And it's not just biology. Those norepinephrine glued memories don't just sit quietly in the brain, they pop up uninvited. So a teen can be shooting hoops with friends, and suddenly, bam, vivid flashback, which leads to instant shame, instant guilt, instant fear that everybody can tell what they're thinking. That shame flood actually triggers another norepinephrine surge. Now the brain is learning sexual thoughts equal danger, which paradoxically makes memories even stronger. It's a cruel trap. And this is why yelling or shaming or, well, just don't think about it almost always backfires. You're accidentally reinforcing the very circuitry that you want to weaken. Okay, so deep breath. Here is the good news. The teen brain is the most neuroplastic brain on the planet, and we can absolutely turn this around. So step one, it's reducing and eliminating the artificial norepinephrine spikes. That means, parents, you got to enforce strong boundaries, which can mean using accountability software, or maybe even a flip phone, a dumb phone for a season, or like we covered in a previous podcast, even no phone for a season. Got to be able to allow this recalibration to happen, this period of time for the brain to begin to heal. And yes, there will be withdrawal, there'll be irritability, there'll be boredom, there'll be cravings, but it passes usually in 2, maybe 4 or 6 weeks as the receptors start to upregulate again. Step 2, place with healthy norepinephrine sources, things like high intensity exercises. Research shows sprints, weightlifting, heavy weightlifting, CrossFit, sports. The strongest natural boosters tend to be those high intensity exercises. And the research shows that it can increase norepinephrine by 100 to 500% acutely. Especially effective can also be cold exposure together with exercise. So for example, cold plunging or ice bath followed by an intense workout. So consider things like cold showers or ice baths. Cold exposure, maybe cold showers starting with 30 seconds or cold plunging and working up to between 2 and 5 minutes. Studies show a 200 to 300% spike in norepinephrine within minutes with this cold exposure therapy. Things like intermittent fasting or a low carb or ketogenic state, with the fasting being somewhere in that range of 12 to 16 hours, or being in a nutritional ketosis also, the research shows, helps to raise norepinephrine. Learning genuinely hard skills, things like martial arts or a musical instrument like guitar, or learning to chess or learning to code, demonstrate ways to increase natural norepinephrine production. And finally, real social risk-taking, things like maybe asking someone to hang out, public speaking, or performing on a stage or in public. All of these trigger natural, balanced norepinephrine release and start rewiring that reward system. So step 3 is to teach emotional regulation so that they don't need the artificial escape. Things like daily mindfulness or journaling, breathing exercises. These calm the locus coeruleus and help to reduce stress. Slow, deep breathing. Classic would be like that 4 to 6 breaths per minute. Techniques like the box breathing, which is the 4-4-4-4 or the 4-7-8 breathing styles. Coherence breathing, or really any method that extends that exhale. We know that it directly increases the vagal tone and inhibits the locus coeruleus firing within 1 or 2 minutes. Next, meditation, especially mindfulness, 10 to 20 minutes daily helps to reduce that locus coeruleus baseline activity. And this is per fMRI studies who show that. So things like apps like Headspace or Calm or the simple body scan meditation work. Long-term practitioners can show like a 20 to 40% lower resting norepinephrine types of interventions. Progressive muscle relaxation, tense and release each muscle group for 5 to 10 seconds, and working through the body that way is one of the fastest way to drop sympathetic tone and to quiet that locus coeruleus. And non-competitive moderate aerobic exercise, things like simply walking or light jogging, cycling or swimming, conversational pace shows that it will boost the GABA and the parasympathetic activity, which lowers baseline norepinephrine. And then finally, things like yoga, combining slow movement, breath work, and mindfulness have shown to be very strong interventions in providing that calming effect for the locus coeruleus. So number 4 is to create safety to talk. When a teen knows that they can say, I had a trigger today, without exploding or shaming, the emotional charge around those memories starts to drop and norepinephrine stops gluing them in deeper. Providing your teen with a safe space to be real, open, and honest. It's going to be real important. And so some strategies for that. So one, be just what would be called the side-by-side rule, which kind of removes them out of the spotlight. As we know, teens tend to shut down fastest when they feel interrogated face-to-face. So do the talking maybe in a car where they're not having to make direct eye contact, or on a walk, or while shooting hoops, or while cooking together or doing dishes, maybe during a late night snack run. And the lack of direct eye contact lowers defensiveness, and it actually makes them more likely to open up. So another strategy for safe space to talk would be the 10-minute no fix zone, which would just simply be starting a heavy conversation by saying something like, for the first 10 minutes, I'm just going to listen. No advice, no freaking out, no fixing. I just want to understand. And set a visible timer if you have to. Most teens test you the first couple of times and then flood you with way more than 10 minutes once they believe that you'll actually stay quiet. Another idea would be the phone basket or open door hours, which would just simply be to put a basket by the front door, and anyone can drop their phone in it and declare open door hours until they take it back out. And during that window, there's no lectures, there's no immediate consequences. You only ask open, non-shaming questions. And teens start using it themselves when they need to talk about something big without fear of instant punishment. And then finally, the idea of using media as a third party. So instead of we need to talk about your porn use, try maybe watching a relevant TV episode or a TikTok video together, or even a news story, and casually then asking, well, what did you think about how they handled that? Or maybe even sending a meme or an article or a song lyric with a low-key, this made me think of you thoughts. And it feels less like a parental ambush and more like a shared experience. And parents, if you want the exact roadmap that my clients use, go grab the Recovery Toolbox for Teens workbooks. You get it at therapyassociates.net at the website in the bookstore. So you go into the menu, find the bookstore, and the Recovery Toolbox for Teens includes the Breaking Free workbook, Breaking Free Parent Guide, and the 101 Tips for Quitting Porn workbook. It's the blue toolbox, not the brown one. Brown one is the adult version. And there's an entire module on the brain chemistry, trigger tracking sheets, replacement activity plans, parent-teen conversation scripts. There's hundreds of families using it right now. So check it out. Remember, if your teen is in crisis, if there is sexual acting out that's occurred, if you're dealing with severe depression or suicidality, dangerous or reckless online behaviors, or if you just simply have no influence in your teen's life to disrupt the addiction, then please look into Star Guides, starguides.net. And I've seen that program literally save lives. So if that is something, if you're at that stage, go check it out. Parents, I need you to hear this. Your teen is not broken. Their brain has been hijacked by a system older than humanity, exploited by an industry that does not care about them. But armed with understanding and with the right support, they can absolutely heal. I've watched it hundreds of times. You're already taking the first step by listening to this, so keep going. You are not alone, and there is real evidence-based hope. Parents, thanks for joining me today. I know your time is valuable, and I'm honored that you tuned in, and I hope that you have found it worthwhile. If this episode has helped you, please leave a review. That's how other parents find us. Share it with another person who needs to hear it today. And I will see you in the next episode. You've got this. So does your team.